What if I told you that the greatest enemy you will ever face is not out there but within? The war you fight daily is not with the world but with your own thoughts. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius all taught that our minds shape our reality, yet most of us let negativity run wild, unchecked, like an untrained beast. This is the war of the mind, and if you don't learn to control it, it will control you. The Stoics, some of the wisest philosophers in history, understood a secret: negative thinking is not reality. It is simply a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. Today, we're going to break this habit once and for all. These lessons will equip you with the Stoic tools to kill it before it kills your potential. Lesson 1: You are not your thoughts. Have you ever been trapped in an endless loop of negative thinking? A single doubt enters your mind, and suddenly it snowballs into a storm of self-doubt, fear, and anxiety. It's as if your brain is running a script that only focuses on your worst-case scenarios, amplifying every insecurity and turning minor worries into overwhelming problems. The Stoics teach that you are not your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the power of the mind extensively, emphasizing that thoughts come and go, but they do not define you unless you allow them to. Negative thoughts will come, but it is your choice whether to believe them or let them pass. A great way to weaken the grip of negative thinking is to question it. When a troubling thought enters your mind, ask yourself, is this absolutely true? More often than not, our negative thoughts are exaggerated or based on past fears rather than reality. Another effective method is to use cognitive distancing. View your thoughts as separate from yourself. Imagine your mind as a river and each thought as a leaf floating downstream. You can observe it without having to pick it up or carry it with you. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, label the thought: this is just a thought, not reality. Do not engage with it, let it pass like clouds in the sky. Or better yet, replace it with a constructive one. Instead of, I'm going to fail, think, I will learn and improve. Often, negativity is rooted in assumptions rather than facts. By questioning its validity, you weaken its power. Engage in positive self-dialogue. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend. If a friend made a mistake, would you call them a failure? No. You would encourage them to try again. Offer yourself the same kindness. With practice, you'll realize that you hold the power to shape your mind's landscape, transforming negative loops into productive and empowering thoughts. The more you train your mind to challenge, replace, and release negativity, the stronger your mental resilience will become. Lesson 2: Control what you can, let go of what you can't. Negative thinking thrives when we focus on things we cannot control. The Stoics believed in the dichotomy of control. There are things within our control and things outside of it. Worrying about the uncontrollable is wasted energy. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The modern world amplifies this problem. Social media, news cycles, and external pressures constantly throw situations at us that are beyond our influence, yet they consume our mental energy. Every moment spent dwelling on these distractions drains our capacity to act effectively where it truly matters. The next time negative thoughts try to take hold, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, take action. If no, let it go. But don't stop there. Instead of merely dismissing the thought, refocus on something you can influence. Direct your attention toward learning a new skill, improving your relationships, or bettering your daily routine. By actively engaging with what you can change, you not only weaken negativity but also build momentum toward a productive mindset. Another powerful exercise is the circle of influence technique. Draw two circles, one labeled, what I control, and another larger one labeled, what I don't control. List specific worries in each. By visually sorting them, you reinforce the idea that not everything demands your concern. The more you practice this, the quicker your mind will recognize distractions and discard them before they take root. Controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't is not just about reducing anxiety, it's about reclaiming your focus and power. When you waste energy fixating on matters beyond your influence, you drain the mental reserves needed for growth, productivity, and resilience. Imagine a garden where you only have so much water to give. If you spend all your time watering weeds, things outside your control, you will have none left to nurture the plants that can actually flourish. The same applies to your mind. Focus your energy on aspects of life where your efforts will bear fruit, such as self-improvement, relationships, and meaningful work. A great way to implement this practice is to maintain a daily reflection journal. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that occupied your mind. Then categorize them. Was this something I could control? Did it serve my growth? This simple practice will help retrain your brain to invest its focus where it truly matters. Choose wisely where you invest your thoughts, because wherever your attention goes, your reality follows. Lesson 3: Rewrite the narrative. Negative thinking often comes from the stories we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I'm a failure. These are not truths, they are stories we create and replay in our minds until they feel real. The Stoics teach that you must be the author of your own mind, rewriting these mental narratives to serve you instead of harm you. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are the script of a movie. If you were the director, would you choose to make a film filled with doubt and failure or one of perseverance and growth? You have the power to change the story. When a negative thought arises, rewrite it immediately. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I am improving every day. Instead of, I'll never succeed, say, success is a journey, and I am taking the next step. Your words shape your reality, and by shifting them, you shift your perception of yourself. Whenever a self-defeating belief appears, write it down and then rewrite it with a positive, empowering alternative. Over time, this practice will train your mind to automatically default to constructive self-talk rather than destructive narratives. The choice is yours. Will you continue telling yourself a story that drags you down, or will you take control and script a new narrative that lifts you up? The decision is within your power. Begin crafting your success today and take decisive steps to turn your vision into reality. Success begins in the mind, cultivate it with intention, belief, and consistent action. Every rejection and every failure is another repetition in the gym of life, making you stronger, more capable, and more prepared for future battles. When you encounter difficulties, remind yourself that pain and discomfort are temporary, but the strength you build in facing them lasts forever. Train your mind to seek the lesson in every hardship. Instead of reacting emotionally, step back and ask, what can I learn from this? How will this make me stronger? By doing this, you shift from seeing obstacles as barriers to viewing them as opportunities for self-improvement. When a negative thought arises, ask yourself, how can I use this to grow? Every hardship is a teacher. Keep a challenge journal where you write down struggles alongside the lessons they offer. This simple act rewires your mind to focus on growth rather than setbacks. Additionally, take it a step further. Not only write down the lesson but strategize how you will apply it in the future. Review past entries and recognize patterns. Are there recurring challenges that suggest an area where you need greater strength? Reflection, combined with action, transforms hardship into mastery. Many people hesitate to start a journal, believing it to be unnecessary, tedious, or simply not worth their time. However, if you truly aspire to live by Stoic principles, journaling is not optional, it is essential. The practice of writing your thoughts, reflecting on your experiences, and examining your own reasoning is one of the most powerful tools for self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius himself, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, kept a personal journal that later became the legendary Meditations. Journaling allows you to clarify your thoughts, track your progress, and solidify your philosophical understanding. It is not just a habit, it is a transformational practice that can reshape your perspective, strengthen your resilience, and guide you toward wisdom. If you wish to be a Stoic, commit to journaling, it will change your life. The more you train yourself to approach challenges this way, the more naturally resilience and mental toughness will develop in your life. Over time, difficulties that once seemed insurmountable will become mere stepping stones, and you will come to view adversity not as a burden but as the very fuel that propels you toward greatness. Negative thinking often drags us into the past, filling our minds with regret, or propels us into the future, creating unnecessary anxiety about events that may never come to pass. The Stoics teach that the present moment is all that truly exists, and mastering this awareness is key to silencing negativity. When negative thinking arises, bring yourself fully to the present. Engage in deep breathing, inhale slowly through your nose, hold the breath for a moment, and exhale completely. Repeat this process until your mind settles. Observe your surroundings. Take in the details and ground yourself in reality. Use your senses to stay anchored. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Engage fully with the present moment by immersing yourself in what is happening right now, rather than dwelling on what has been or what might be. The Stoics believed in controlling perception. You have the power to shift your focus from what you cannot change to what is in front of you. Remind yourself, right now, in this moment, I am safe. I am okay. My mind does not need to wander into the past or race toward the future. I choose to be here, fully present, fully alive. To strengthen this practice, incorporate mindfulness techniques into your daily routine. Set small reminders to pause and check in with yourself throughout the day. Take a few deep breaths before responding to a stressful situation. Ground yourself by engaging all 5 senses. Notice what you see, hear, feel, smell, and taste in the moment. This sensory awareness helps anchor you firmly in the present. Additionally, make time for daily reflections. At the end of the day, write down 3 moments when you felt fully present. This will train your brain to recognize and appreciate the power of mindfulness. Pair this habit with intentional movement, whether it's stretching, walking, or yoga, to physically reinforce your presence. Another effective strategy is practicing gratitude as a grounding tool. Instead of fixating on what's wrong or missing, focus on what is good and abundant in your life. Each morning, think of 3 things you are grateful for and reflect on why they matter. Don't worry if they are the same things as the day before. Every moment of gratitude reinforces a positive mindset. Writing these thoughts down in a gratitude journal can amplify the effects, as the physical act of writing solidifies these reflections in your mind. In addition to morning gratitude, incorporate this habit throughout your day. Pause before meals to express thanks for the food in front of you. Take a moment before bed to review the positive experiences of the day, no matter how small. Recognizing even the smallest joys, a kind word from a friend, a beautiful sunset, a moment of laughter, helps shift your focus from what is lacking to what is present and valuable. To deepen the impact, practice gratitude in interactions with others. Express appreciation openly. Tell a friend, family member, or colleague why you value them. Gratitude shared strengthens relationships and fosters a culture of positivity. This practice helps rewire your brain to default to appreciation rather than frustration or negativity. Over time, this intentional practice will train your mind to embrace the present, reducing negative thought patterns, increasing your sense of peace and clarity, and ultimately fostering a life rooted in awareness and fulfillment. Imagine you are looking at your life from the perspective of a bird flying high above. Suddenly, your problem seems small, temporary, insignificant against the vast landscape below. The Stoics called this the view from above, a way to gain perspective and kill negative thinking. This practice urges you to zoom out and recognize that life's struggles are fleeting, just a speck in the grand design of existence. Take this a step further. Picture yourself from even higher, as if you were seeing your problems from space. The entire world exists beneath you, its bustling cities, endless oceans, and billions of lives, each filled with their own joys and struggles. From this viewpoint, how monumental do your worries really seem? Most of what troubles us today will dissolve into irrelevance over time. Ask yourself, Will this matter in a year? 5 years? 10? If the answer is no, then why let it consume your present? By practicing this perspective regularly, you cultivate an attitude of resilience. Recognize the temporary nature of problems and the resilience of the human spirit. Struggles are not unique to you, they are universal. Each hardship is another test, another opportunity to grow stronger and refine your character. Instead of viewing struggles as burdens, see them as essential lessons in your personal evolution. To further solidify this mindset, practice regularly stepping back from immediate concerns and viewing them from a broader perspective. Imagine yourself as an observer, watching your life as if it were a movie. Would the protagonist of your story let temporary setbacks define them? Or would they rise, adapt, and become stronger? Make the conscious choice to be the latter. Use this newfound clarity to navigate life with a sense of calm and purpose. Cultivate an attitude of resilience, knowing that in the grand scale of existence, you are capable of overcoming whatever stands in your way. Train your mind to see adversity as a necessary tool for growth rather than an impediment. Just as the great thinkers and leaders before you turned their trials into triumphs, so too can you reshape your mind. And use adversity as the fuel for your own personal transformation. The choice is always yours: rise above, adapt, and thrive. Through consistent practice, self-discipline becomes a core part of your identity, empowering you to navigate life with confidence, purpose, and inner strength. As you continue to practice, self-discipline shapes who you are, turning conscious effort into instinct. This habitual discipline is what distinguishes successful individuals from those trapped in cycles of negativity and self-doubt. Over time, self-discipline leads to mastery over oneself. You are not controlled by your thoughts, you are the master of your mind, and self-discipline is the key to maintaining that control. When confronted with temptation or discouragement, remind yourself that discipline serves as the bridge between intention and achievement. The more you push through short-term discomfort, the more you solidify long-term success. Each disciplined action strengthens a mindset that nurtures success, clarity, and the ability to rise above negativity. The more you challenge yourself to remain committed, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. Instead of allowing circumstances to dictate your emotions, you take charge of your reactions. This control creates a ripple effect that positively impacts all areas of your life, your work, relationships, and self-perception. Ultimately, self-discipline is the foundation of true freedom. When you cultivate inner strength, external influences lose their power over you. You become proactive, moving through life with intention and carving your own path rather than being swept away by fleeting thoughts or emotions. When negativity arises, self-discipline enables you to counter it with action, clarity, and unshakable resolve. Lesson 8: The Power of Emotional Detachment. Negative thinking often arises from emotional attachment to outcomes and situations. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from detaching emotionally, learning to observe events without being consumed by them. When negativity surfaces, practice stepping back and viewing your emotions as separate from yourself. Instead of instantly identifying with anger or anxiety, take a moment to observe them objectively. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why do I feel this way? Is this reaction helpful? By recognizing your emotions without letting them control you, you create a mental buffer that reduces their intensity and allows for a more rational response. This small yet powerful shift fosters emotional clarity and prevents negativity from overwhelming you. One effective method is the observer technique. Visualize your thoughts and emotions as passing clouds or ocean waves. Instead of resisting or drowning in them, simply observe them. Accept their presence without judgment, knowing they will eventually pass. Another approach is Stoic premeditation, mentally preparing for potential outcomes before facing a stressful situation. And reminding yourself that external events don't define you. This prepares you to respond with calmness rather than impulsively reacting. Unmet expectations often lead to frustration and negativity. We expect things to go a certain way, and when they don't, disappointment sets in. Emotional detachment allows us to accept things as they are rather than how we think they should be. Instead of letting unmet expectations breed resentment, practice acceptance and adaptability. Ask yourself, was this expectation reasonable? More often than not, we set ourselves up for disappointment by expecting the world to bend to our desires instead of adjusting to reality. Learning to release rigid expectations frees us from unnecessary suffering and allows us to embrace life as it is. Resentment often results from emotional overattachment. Holding grudges gives power to the past. The Stoics believed in letting go of resentment because it serves no practical purpose, it only weighs us down. Rather than dwelling on others' actions, focus on what you can control, your response. By shifting your attention to personal growth instead of past wrongs, you free yourself from the emotional burden of resentment. A powerful question to ask is, how does holding on to this resentment serve me? Often, the answer is that it doesn't, it only fuels negativity and prevents progress. Jealousy arises from comparison. In today's world, where social media shows only the highlights of others' lives, it's easy to feel envious. However, jealousy stems from the false belief that someone else's success diminishes our own. The Stoics remind us that true fulfillment comes from self-improvement, not external validation. When jealousy appears, redirect your focus inward and ask, am I doing my best? Compete only with yourself, striving to be better than you were yesterday instead of measuring yourself against others. Understand that everyone's journey is unique, and someone else's success doesn't reduce your potential. Competition with others can fuel negative thinking when it becomes an unhealthy obsession. While a little competition can be motivating, constantly comparing yourself to others can lead to feelings of inadequacy. The only competition that truly matters is with yourself. Are you making progress? Are you learning and growing? These are the metrics that should define success. By focusing on your personal journey, you detach from external validation and embrace self-improvement as a lifelong pursuit. Rather than competing to be better than others, aim to be better than your former self. Negativity can feel like the default because it requires less effort than positivity. It's easier to focus on what's wrong than to seek solutions. Resisting negativity demands emotional control. The Stoics taught that positivity is a discipline, it takes conscious effort to cultivate a constructive mindset. Each time you catch yourself slipping into negativity, pause and ask, what is the alternative? Perspective. With practice, choosing positivity becomes second nature. Remember, positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality, it means focusing on opportunities rather than obstacles. We often react negatively because it gives us a sense of control over uncertainty. However, negativity doesn't change reality, it only distorts how we perceive it. Emotional detachment helps us respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Instead of assuming the worst, train yourself to pause and assess the situation with clarity. This simple delay in reaction weakens the hold of negative thinking and allows rational thought to take charge. A helpful habit is mental time travel. Ask yourself, how will I feel about this situation a month or a year from now? This perspective often shows that what feels overwhelming now is temporary and manageable. Self-awareness is key to cultivating emotional control. Pay attention to your triggers. What situations or thoughts tend to bring about negativity? Once you identify patterns, you can work on disrupting them. If social comparison triggers jealousy, limit exposure to sources that fuel that emotion. If unmet expectations lead to disappointment, shift your mindset to embrace uncertainty rather than resisting it. Self-awareness is the first step in mastering your emotions. Keeping a reflection journal to track negative emotional triggers can help build awareness and improve your strategies for managing them. Mastering emotional detachment gives you control over your inner world. You become less affected by external circumstances and more capable of handling challenges with clarity and resilience. Instead of letting emotions hijack your decision-making, you process them constructively. This allows you to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. The goal isn't to suppress emotions, but to prevent them from dictating your thoughts and actions. Many confuse emotional detachment with indifference, but it's actually a form of emotional intelligence. It's about recognizing and understanding your emotions while choosing whether or not to let them influence you. Detachment allows you to feel deeply without being controlled by anger, anxiety, or despair. It's particularly useful when dealing with criticism, failure, or disappointment. Detaching from your ego means not taking failure personally. Instead of internalizing mistakes, you view them as opportunities for growth. Similarly, instead of feeling wounded by criticism, you assess its value and discard what's unhelpful. Emotional detachment also frees you from seeking external validation. Many struggle with negative thinking because they rely too much on others' opinions. By detaching from this need, you develop a self-worth that comes from within, rather than from fluctuating judgments. One challenge of emotional detachment is resisting the pull of immediate emotional gratification. Anger, self-pity, or resentment may provide temporary satisfaction, but true